All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. Now, New England Patriots head coach Gerard Mayo might be a pupil of the team's former head coach Bill Belichick, but that doesn't mean that he's going to go out there and be doing exactly everything like his predecessor. Now, on Wednesday, the Patriots announced that veteran quarterback Jacoby Brissett will be the team starter under center when the regular season begins next week, while rookie quarterback Drake Maye will be on the bench. And you can put me in the category of having absolutely no problem with that. The reason why I say it is this: in an age in the NFL where most teams throw their rookie quarterbacks to the wolves right away, New England is taking their time on this one, and they're doing it for a variety of reasons. The Patriots organization is showing that they are learning from their previous mistakes with quarterback Mac Jones, and it looks like they are not going to go out there and make those same mistakes with Drake Maye. New England used a first round pick on Mac Jones back in 2021, and then they immediately made him their starting quarterback. Jones did have his best season in 2021. He finished second in the Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. He helped the Patriots get to the postseason, but it was downhill from there. Right after that season, offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels left New England to become the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And then from there, Bill Belichick really didn't do Mac Jones any type of favors. We're talking about having a special team coach in Joe Judge and a defensive coordinator in Matt Patricia basically be the co-offensive coordinators. And then last year, it was Bill O'Brien. But at that point, the damage had already been done. Now, Belichick, we know, was a de facto general manager during his time in New England. And Belichick basically thought, hey, I could put anybody around Tom Brady and we can win. And he tried to do the same thing with Mac Jones. And clearly, Mac Jones, even on his best day, is not Tom Brady, okay? And you got to put some talent around some of these guys on offense. Just look around the league right now with what some of these teams are doing as they're stacking talent around their young guys. So the end result for Mac Jones is that he just got shell shocked, okay? And we saw him get traded earlier this offseason to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a late round pick. But the New England approach right now is a lot different with May, as you got a kid in Drake Maye. He's going to sit back. He's going to have the opportunity to learn from Jacoby Brissett while also picking up the game from the sideline as well. And whereas the Patriots are not the most talented team in the NFL right now, I got no problem with this because, again, you would be throwing his kids to the wolves. You have a bad team. The Patriots were bad offensively last year. They could improve, yes, but I'm not going to go out there and say that this offense is going to be the 2007 Patriots. Absolutely not. So give this kid an opportunity. On top of that, you look at New England's schedule right out of the chute. At Cincinnati, they're home for Seattle. At the Jets, at the 49ers, they're home for Miami, and then they're home for Houston. Okay, that is a tough slate of games for any quarterback, more or less a rookie like Drake Maye, who, the future is bright for this young man. I'm not going to say that this guy is going to go out there and be a Hall of Famer yet, don't get me wrong, but if you're the Patriots and you've invested so much in him, you took him third overall this past spring at the draft, okay, and you feel like he's your guy, you've got to go out there and put him in the best possible position to succeed. So why take a chance in ruining this kid if, to me, you don't feel that he's fully ready yet? So we know the Patriots team owner Robert Kraft promoted Gerard Mayo. He was a defensive assistant under Belichick. And I think Robert Kraft knows, as he was looking to regain control of his team, if you will, once he moved on from Belichick, that guess what? This is not going to be a quick rebuild in Foxborough. The Patriots more than likely are going to finish last in this division. The Patriots more than likely are going to have double-digit losses. this season. And a lot of that is due to the fact that, hey, for probably like the last decade or so, that Bill Belichick was the head coach in New England. He did a terrible job as far as drafting. The general manager, Bill Belichick, did a disservice to the head coach, Bill Belichick. And now the Patriots organization is paying for that, because this is not going to be a quick fix, because you need a talent infusion with this team. And it's going to be, I'm not going to say it's going to be a long rebuild, because you can hit on it if you hit on some of your picks over the next, couple of years and do some things in free agency. But nonetheless, you got to be prudent with it. And I think taking Mac Jones as your first pick of this new regime is a very good start in that direction, but you have to keep building. So the question is going to be, because we know that Brissett is going to begin this season, at what point will Gerard Mayo give the keys to the franchise to Drake Maye? Well, I mean, there's several different ways to look at it. You could say, well, Jacoby Brissett's going to start this season. If he gets injured, clearly Drake Maye is your guy. But nonetheless, unless it's something where I think Jacoby Brissett is playing really bad, okay, or the Patriots are just really bad, that might speed up the process as far as Gerard Mayo saying, hey, Drake May is our guy. Maybe it's 4 or 5 games. Maybe it's half the season. Maybe it's three-quarters of the season. Nonetheless, I do see Drake May getting his feet wet definitely before this season's over. I really, unless it's an injury to Brissett, I I'd be surprised to see Drake May start at least for the month of September. Maybe at some point in October, definitely by November. But I think at least for the first 4 or 5 games of this season, he will be a spectator on the Patriots sideline, barring an injury to Jacoby Brissett. The Patriots have their plan. Every team has a different plan. Okay, make no mistake about it. Sometimes, at the end of the day, it's like any other business. You have to do what is best for you. And I think New England's looking at it. The Crafts are looking at it like, hey, you know what? We did Mac Jones a disservice when we brought him in. I know that they had success instantly, but it's not just about the players, who you put around them, the players, the coaches, the environment, all of that stuff. It adds up. I am not going to sit up here and critique New England's plan. I think this plan is what they have in place for Drake May, and I think it can work. Like I said before, he's got to get his feet wet at some point. Maybe not right away, but definitely at some point before the season is out. You have to see what you have, but also drafting going forward, because New England is, like I said, they're probably going to be a bad team this year, and I do expect them to be picking in the top 5 of next year's draft. So then you could see, hey, what do we have in this kid? How can we build around him going forward? It was about 30 years ago. Okay. Patriots had the first overall pick, and this is when Bill Parcells took over. First pick, I do believe, was Drew Bledsoe, and they came back the following year and used the top 5 pick on Willie McGinnis. And it wasn't that long after that, before New England was in the Super Bowl. The foundation was in place. Of course, Parcells left after that. Then it was Pete Carroll. And then, of course, it was Bill Belichick. But you have to start someplace. Drake May is definitely a step in the right direction. I don't think the Patriots stop there. I think they're going um, to keep building. This is a rebuild. This is also an evaluation year for both the Crafts and Gerard Mayo. And I don't, whereas, we see it in the NFL so often where, a coach might be out after 2 or 3 years. I think that Robert Kraft is going to give Gerard Mayo every single opportunity possible to go out there and get this thing right. I don't think he's going to be tapping him over the shoulder after 2 or 3 years, unless the Patriots are really bad. And I don't expect that to happen. But nonetheless, getting back to Drake May, smart move by the Patriots, in my decision. You have yourself a solid veteran in Jacoby Brissett. Okay, so let him go out there, let him take the lumps, let him see what he can do with this offense before you turn it over to Drake May. Nonetheless, the Patriots have their plan, they're sticking to it, and at the end of the day, I simply have absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. Looks like we got somebody chiming in here. Surfer Bob, what's going on? You saying the plan is dumb? They should have drafted Joe Alt and then get Shador next year. I'll say this. I think Joe Alt is a phenomenal player. And I do think this first round of picks, they have the opportunity to be very special. You have a lot of talent in this that went by in this past year's draft. I just think for New England this year, don't worry, I'm not if you're going to be dropping comments, don't worry, I'm not tapping out just yet. So hang tight. I will say this though. I think more often than not, we typically see teams around the NFL. You get yourself a new head coach, more than likely, what do they usually do? They use that first pick on a quarterback. And I think we saw, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we saw 6 quarterbacks taken in round number one this year. So I think they wanted to get that piece. They darn sure weren't going to go around it with Mac Jones next year for another year. I think they were ready to move on from that. And at the end of the day, they felt that Drake Maye was their guy. So it's one of those. I think maybe they come back and get the offensive lineman, the offensive tackle next year. I think Joe Alt is going to be a special player in the National Football League. Make no mistake about it, especially going to the Chargers, because you think about it with Jim Harbaugh and what he does with his offensive line. Going back, he learned, of course, on the Bo Schembechler at Michigan. His dad was a coach, and we can go on and on. But at the end of the day, I don't have me personally, I don't have a problem with them taking Drake May at that point. I think they're going to get. They feel that he's their guy going forward, and now it just simply comes down to them building around him, because you can take the quarterback or you can take the player for whatever position, but if you're not going to put the pieces around him, if you're not going to put the coaches around him as well, it ain't going to work. And I mean, you've probably watched a lot of football. How often have we seen teams take a quarterback early and really not put the pieces around him? So I think at least from the Patriots, sitting Drake May, at least here early on in the beginning of the season, it's one of those where, what, we really don't have the pieces around him. It's not a Caleb Williams situation. And I think at the end of the day, Caleb Williams is more talented than Drake May as far as a quarterback, but still, it's not a Caleb Williams situation where what, you're going to hit this ground running and go out there and put the talent around this kid and say, hey, you know what? You got a chance to do something special here. That's not the case. And again, like I said before, it really goes back to the fact that, hey, Bill Belichick did a bad job for a very long time as far as drafting. And, at the end of the day, it's really caught up to the Patriots. And of course, we saw how the Patriots and Bill Belichick looked without Tom Brady, the last couple of years. But at the end of the day, I think they're going in the right direction. Let's just see for the next couple of years how they build around this young man. And if they put the right pieces around him, you know what? So be it. If not, that's going to be on the Patriots as well, because there's one thing about the NFL that makes it special, really special in my opinion, and that's this. When you're picking in the top 5 or the top 10, especially in the top 5, and you miss on those picks, it sets your franchise back several years. So, if the Patriots miss on this, it's really going to set them back for quite some time. So hopefully for their sake, they get it right. You know, over the years, we've seen teams, current teams, we've seen teams in the past, of course, that have struggled. And they've struggled because they consistently miss on those first round picks. They fail to develop their guys. They fail to change the culture. They fail to put the right people around them, coaches and other player personnel. So hopefully, for their sake, they're going to do that going forward in the years to come. So hopefully, I answered your question there. Definitely, I appreciate your opinion on this matter, and I'm going to be checking it out as the season goes along. I know that you're probably going to be checking it out as well as other NFL action. So definitely, I want to hear from you. As the season goes along about the Patriots, Drake Maye, and what they do going forward with the Gerard Mayo regime. But nonetheless, folks, as always, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.